And now we can talk to Geraint Johnes, Professor of Economics at Lancaster University in the UK. Hello, thank you very much indeed for your time. We just saw there in that report various state economies in the US reopening, record borrowing by the US Treasury. Of course, countries going into recession, the consequences are huge. I understand, though, the circumstances are obviously different, but if you could put it into context compared to 2008, how would you describe the economic consequences right now?
Well, the circumstances are quite different to the 2008 great financial crash. What we've got here is a crisis that arises from the supply side of the economy because businesses are essentially having to close or restrict their production in response to the lockdown and in response to workers falling ill or having symptoms related to coronavirus. So it's something to do with the capacity of the economy to produce. In 2008, it was a demand side problem, and so it was quite different, and it means that different solutions are required now. The lockdown that many countries have gone into has been appropriate, but it's time now to start thinking about relaxing those lockdown restrictions because the economic cost is substantial, and they need relaxing in a way that assures a reasonable amount of safety for people while still allowing some production to take place once again.
Now, one leader who, of course, has been pushing very hard for the economy to get going again, Donald Trump in the US. What about, though, his comments and the impact that they have on the markets? To what extent would you say the tensions between the US and China that were already pretty high, now there's a blame game going on, what impact is that having potentially on the global economy?
Well, there's certainly a political blame game going on. There were tensions there before, as you point out, and Trump seems to be trying to exacerbate those tensions through this blame game. But the key thing here is to see how economies can start up again after a period of lockdown. They will need to do so gradually, and it will need to be industries that can do so safely will have to be prioritized in coming out of lockdown. There are other industries where people get together in large numbers, such as theatres, cinemas, pubs, restaurants, gyms, and so on. And it's difficult to see how they will be able to resume activities in the immediate future. So it'll be a staged recovery from lockdown, and the support that governments need to give to industry and also to workers will need to respect the fact that it's a staged re-emergence from lockdown. So there will need to be some financial support coming from government looking ahead for many months to come.
Now, here in France, there's a lot of support that's been announced and given to small and medium companies particularly. You talked about different types of industries, some being able to reopen or get going again safely, others not so much. Would you say that applies to should it be in the US on a state-by-state basis and then in Europe country by country, or should there be a more cooperation?
In France, there's been about 110 billion euros of aid promised, and much of that is going to small businesses that need support. So small businesses can claim up to 10,000 euros if people are self-employed and are employing people. Other countries have different types of packages. In the UK, for example, we have the government supporting the payment for workers who have been furloughed, who are not actually at work. 80% of their salary can be claimed by their employers. Also, there's a program for self-employment. In the United States, the program has been different again. So individuals have been receiving $1,200 from the government in order to support their consumption needs. So it's been channeled immediately to individuals rather than to businesses. And the consequence in the United States has been a large increase in unemployment. So it's expected that this month unemployment will go upwards of 20% in the United States. We've not seen that yet in European countries, but workers who are furloughed will need to be eased back into work, and there is certainly the danger that unemployment will rise in European economies as well.
All right, thank you very much indeed for your time and your analysis. Geraint Johnes from Lancaster University in the UK.